Hey everybody, this is going to be a different, as you can tell by the jingle bells there at the beginning, a different episode than usual. Steve and I are taking the week to be with our friends and family, and I hope that you are too. So you're not getting an episode with new idioms, you are getting a different present under your tree this morning, which is the top 10 moments of the podcast so far, as determined by yours truly. So I thought it would be fun for those of you that perhaps haven't listened to every minute of every one of the 21 episodes so far to hear some of the fun moments or relive them, if you have heard them, from the first 21 episodes from 2018. So it's been a real fun ride for Steve and I to do this, and thank you for listening. We are just getting started, and we are planning on bringing you a lot of fun new episodes in 2019, and we've got some surprises along the way. So in the meantime, I'm going to be counting down my favorite 10 moments of the podcast so far. So the first one is from the Cakewalk and Humble Pie episode, and it's when Steve starts talking about his Rod Stewart phase and tries to get me to like Rod Stewart. So this is my 10th favorite moment so far. Enjoy.
You actually might not know this.
I don't know anything about this.
I had a Rod Stewart phase when I was younger.
Get out.
Listen, we're in the closet. We're going to
out.
confront this. So when I say Rod Stewart,
Terrible.
What do you think? You think Rod Stewart. So think in your head whatever that terrible
I think when we were working at the freaking Maple Tree,
Mm-hmm.
I'll go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
And we had to listen to like whatever soft hits were on, and it would be horrible
Right.
Rod Stewart. I think I got something to say to you.
So before that is not a Rod Stewart. I don't know what you're.
I think I got something to say to you. No. What's the one he has that has a woman's name in it?
I know I'm supposed to keep
the
conversation
he's
going.
Like, so I think I got something to say to you. Okay, maybe it's not Rod Stewart.
No, the last part you got it. Oh, Maggie May.
Maggie May, is that him?
Yeah,
it's
that's
terrible.
him.
But see, I like that you've so
like
blocked out.
Yeah.
Wait, you're saying my rendition didn't resemble the actual Rod Stewart?
It sounded like
song?
Richard Dreyfuss trying to do.
Maggie May, I think I've got something to say to you.
So I will say,
I'm
in my
Richard
defense,
Dreyfuss.
Early Rod Stewart, before he became whatever it's kind of like there's Rocky 4 Rocky and there's Rocky 1 Rocky.
Yeah, okay.
Rocky 1, he's a scrappy guy fighting his way up, just doesn't want to be a loser. Mm-hmm. Rocky 4, he's ending communism, which is a good thing, but kind of more cartoony Rambo-y.
Yeah.
Early Rod Stewart.
How was it? What was his hair situation back then?
He still kind of had the electrified peacock look, but he hung out with a group of guys that did that, like Ron Wood from the Rolling Stones.
Not personally, but okay. I know of Ron.
So
Wood,
that he was with Rod Stewart in his early solo work. He was also in the Faces, where to go back.
Rod Stewart was in Faces?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yep. Also the Jeff Beck group.
Okay. All right, you're schooling me.
You're gonna have to eat. I don't want to go pie.
You right.
Bringing it back. So
you've already made me like Prince, and I do like Prince now.
But Prince is awesome.
I know, but I had an aversion.
I won't make you like Rod Stewart.
The next one is from our Charlottesville road trip, and it's from our conversation with Eric Neff. And first of all, the episode starts with Eric pretty much asking if we can just not do the idiom because he's never heard of it. So that was pretty good. But then as we get going, he gets into the merits of Short Circuit 2, which, when we made the trip to Charlottesville, I can attest that Steve and I did not think we would be talking about Short Circuit 2, which I remembered as a below par movie, but Eric had some thoughts, and it's hilarious. So this is number 9.
What's the next one?
Well, I was so glad you said something about pale, because the next one is
segue.
Kick the bucket.
Oh.
Look what I did. I made a segue.
Buck the Kick It from Short Circuit 2.
Short Circuit 2 sucked. Circuit was great.
Short Circuit 2 was really
Short
good.
Circuit 2 is like it's like what's his name? Number 5 in the city.
Yeah, Johnny Five.
Johnny Five Alive.
One of the best songs made up by this tough street gang called Los Locos. Los Locos kick your ass. Los Locos kick your face. Los Locos kick your balls into outer space.
What?
These are like these like tatted up, like cut off jean jacket dudes that are like
that never actually
that Johnny
existed
Five
in
runs
real
into.
life, but only in
Yeah.
80s movies would these guys show up.
Yeah, they go around ripping off like car stereos, and they want to kick Johnny Five's ass until they figure out that he's got like a kung fu grip. He's got like a Virginia Beach plumber's grip. Kick the bucket. It's got to have something to do with horses.
Why?
Logically.
Number 8 is when I talk about the origin of the show and sort of what was one of the things that made me want to start this thing with Steve. And it's from the episode Cut of Your Jib. So that comes up in this one. So this is number 8. This is another dying one, like loaded for bear.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how animals go extinct, apparently? I don't believe it, but that's what the hippies say. So do idioms. And I don't want to let loaded for bear die.
Right. I think we've done what we can to bring that.
We've done all we can.
Yeah.
I have personally proselytized at least, I don't know if I'm using that word right, but at least 8 people. It's a good. All right.
Listen,
I'm not going to talk about loaded for bear anymore. But.
Don't get all fired up.
Ooh,
and as you know,
right.
I leave the house every day prepared for a bear to attack me.
You should. You properly thought about bears.
Yep.
And you prepared your daughter for this is what you need to be afraid of. There's another one that I feel passionately about, and it's dying. And this, what I'm about to tell you, is actually one of, I don't know if it's the only impetus, but it's one of the main impetuses, whatever, for doing this podcast. And it is, before we ever started this thing, I was sitting at a bar and having my sad meal with a beer.
I think this is how most podcast ideas start. But please continue.
Right. And this guy next to me, and I struck up a conversation. Because I'm one of those guys, you know. Most of the time, I'll strike up a conversation. And he was a cool dude. And at the end of it, I said, I got his drink, you know. Mm-hmm. And he turned to me and he said, I like the cut of your jib. And I said, thank you. I said, thank you. And he goes, oh, you know what that means? I said, absolutely. And I said, you don't hear that much anymore. And he goes, do you know what it means? Mm-hmm. And I said, I think it has something to do with a boat. And he was impressed that he knew that much. That I knew that much, and he was like the same way. He's like, yeah, I'm not sure. It's something nautical. So, number one, I like the cut of your jib. Should not die because it's cool. So over Thanksgiving, we did an episode. Well, we did our normal episode, which was cold turkey and gravy train. But we got into this discussion about Roadhouse, and if you follow our Instagram, you definitely saw a lot of Swayze stuff and Roadhouse stuff. We love Roadhouse, and this one, number 7, is what I call Steve's TED Talk about Roadhouse. Enjoy.
Well, Roadhouse, I think, needs a holiday.
Yes.
It needs a holiday to belong to.
Not enough people know about Roadhouse.
No one, you never know enough. So one of the things I think that have helped bind and build our friendship throughout the years is a common thread of that is Roadhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think also is a common thread, whether people realize it or not, that keeps America together. I mean, it's Roadhouse.
I mean...
It's the gravity that unites us, whether we realize it or not. You know, whether you think the earth is round or flat.
That's fair.
You know, you're not thinking about gravity. The earth is round, by the way. And it's rotating, and it's holding us to it, whether you acknowledge it or not. And I think Roadhouse is a lot like that. And I think it's Swayze in the same way that his pants were held to him so tightly.
Right. It's
Which
like
he
a
had a
gravitational
streak.
force.
That was part of his, casting. And granted, it was part of the years he was there. But there was a series of movies where I think you've used the term before. You could count the change in his pocket.
Absolutely.
Because those pants are tight. So Roadhouse, I like to describe it as one of the best worst movies, because it kind of, as you watch it, it's a process you go through of I can't believe how terrible this is. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Then it's terrible again. Then it's tremendous. And then you're just kind of confused and happy. It's kind of like the rotation of the earth. There's different cycles. There's light, there's dark, there's different seasons. And
you should give a TED Talk on this, man.
I should.
Number 6 also comes from our Charlottesville road trip. This was, I think, the second one we did with Micah. The idiom was 86th, but so Micah's telling us about 86, and he's talking about soda jerks, and we start talking about cocaine soda, so that's what this starts off with, and then it gets into some hot Burt Reynolds talk, and I love this part. It made me laugh when I listened back to it, and hopefully it'll make you laugh as well. So number 6 is a little Burt Reynolds talk in Charlottesville with Micah, Lamont, and Eric Neff.
Or
Dude, that sounds awesome.
Dude, cherry cocaine soda. Taco Bell probably has it.
Yeah.
Tropical.
Dude, Gator will fix you up at the 5th Street Taco Bell.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Gator?
I wrote a song about Gator.
There's a Gator at every Taco Bell.
Eric has joined us here in the pod. And Eric, thank you for letting us use your possum hair infested studio.
Courtesy of Fish Stick.
Have you heard of this Burt Reynolds movie where he plays
Gator?
Gator? Yeah.
There's Gator too.
He had a Gator poster in his house
really?
at one point.
I had a Burt Reynolds room at my house.
He really tried.
Why is everyone laughing? I did. I had a friend.
Really funny.
How many? Oh, go ahead.
I had a friend that had John Wayne room, and I wanted to one up him. And
Well, yeah, I think you did.
Yeah, it was a Burt Reynolds room, but I had to stop it when my nephew honestly asked me, "Who is that guy, and how come he never has a shirt on?"
I guess
Well,
that's
how
a
many
little strange.
people
You can't
actually
clothe
texted?
that kind of
Yeah.
canned heat.
Yeah.
How many people texted you when Burt Reynolds died? That tells you something.
It was
What?
up
He
there.
died?
Yeah.
What, like this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember hearing about it.
We can tell.
Steve, I know that I might have been the one to tell you, and I'm sorry.
I didn't know. I get the sorry about Bert text. Well, it wasn't like it was my grandfather. It was like, Papa, no.
All right, so now we're getting into the top 5, my top 5 favorite moments of the podcast. Number 5. Now, this one was amazing because sometimes things just work out. And my favorite moments are, we were doing blowing smoke, and you'll hear us talk about some of the crazy blowing smoke, what blowing smoke meant in the past. And trust me, this is an episode you want to hear if you haven't already. But Steve is armed with this knowledge of, well, I'll just let him tell you, but it was pushing the envelope on our PG-13 rating, but it's all in context, and as you can hear, it made me laugh hard. So number 5 is has to do with steaming.
Even if you're not dead.
I'm trying to think about the person that jumped off the bridge.
Yeah.
That was struggling to survive, and some overzealous EMT or whatever they had back then was like, please, I need to do this. It starts pumping the bellows, and you're like, I'm fine.
It's to someone that has a hammer, everything's a nail.
Exactly. Sir, please stop resisting. I need to pump this tobacco smoke up your
He was
butthole.
the person of it, oh, did you scrape your knee?
Right.
I got just the thing for
Right.
you. Could you bend over for a second, sir?
Yes.
You know what's funny is this same technique is still pretty much around.
What?
I've been looking for a reason to discuss this with you, and this is as good as any.
Yeah.
I've introduced you to goat yoga.
Yes, you did.
Are you aware of vagina steaming?
No. Did you just? I don't know if I heard you correctly. Did you just say
vagina steaming?
I'm not aware of that.
And what you do in vagina steaming is you steam. It's
Once-
just what it sounds like. You steam your
Why?
vagina.
Why?
Well, there's a whole subculture out there of people who have so much money that they've decided to go back to things that have been abandoned or pseudoscience or hippie nonsense in general.
Right. Because all of our other problems are solved. So
they are. So
right.
people that do this, are you aware of Gwyneth Paltrow and her,
Lord.
Goop organization?
Yeah. Yes.
So
yes.
she is a proponent of many things.
Sorry,
so one of the things that
violent.
her organization advocates is vagina steaming.
So
you take your vagina.
What does it do?
You place it over an area that steam can be blasted into it. I'm not sure what it does. Well, it doesn't do anything.
So get a pot of boiling water.
Hey,
baby, get up on the
yeah
on the stove.
And
is it just so essentially it's a sort of a cleansing thing. It's going to kill some toxins.
Yeah, and as with most things like that, it's pseudoscience. It doesn't do anything except probably
3018 Scott and Steve are going to be having this. So you guys, where the term "I'm not throwing any steam in your vagina" came from?
I'm not blowing any steam in your vagina.
Back in the I believe it was 2018, there was this woman, and she had a kid named Apple. And she was a proponent of vagina steaming.
But again,
and what they would do is,
it's exactly what it sounds. So I generally don't like to recommend people Google anything with the word vagina in it, especially at work. But the bottle's name, I'm not going to pronounce her last name right. It's John Legend's wife, Christy Teigen.
Yeah, Christy Teigen.
Please feel free to Google sometime Christy Teigen.
Oh, I have.
Vagina steaming.
Oh, I haven't.
Okay,
no.
Well.
Oh, should I? Or should I not?
Oh, yeah, because she...
But not at work.
Or not at work. Maybe that 3 sheets for the wind lady.
Honestly, I'm not against the idea.
I'll throw a link out eventually there's a doctor who has a blog that basically will find whatever nonsense is new on there and counteract it. And vagina steaming is not medically recommended.
I love that. Man, that's good stuff. And it's very similar. I mean, it's like, hey, let's blow nicotine smoke up your O-ring because it's going to dry you out and whatever. Number 4 is from an episode that we just did, which was Between a Rock and a Hard Place. And as with the last one, I never could have foreseen going into the recording that the topic that would come up, which had to do with Food Network, had to do with Bobby Flay. If you've listened to the episode, you know where we're going with this, but I never would have thought that my transition to Rock and a Hard Place would have worked out so nicely. So number 4 is our Food Network talk, and I hope you enjoy. Why do we like cooking shows so much? I'll tell you right now, my main reason for liking cooking shows historically has been the host, like Nigella Feast.
Yeah.
I love watching Nigella. She could do anything. It could be cooking or like doing math equations on a blackboard. Yeah. I'm in. There was who is the Italian one?
Gianna.
Oh, Giada Laurentis. Yeah. Everyday Italian.
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah.
But my favorite, the Barefoot Contessa.
Ina Garten.
Her catchphrase was, "How bad can that be?" Which, oh my gosh, I could sit there and watch her make a, salad, and she'd be like, "Wait till Jeffrey gets home." And Jeffrey would, I don't know what, I think his name is Jeffrey. I don't know what he did, but Jeffrey would
Ina Garten.
Yes, I guess. I don't know. I feel like there's a whole subtext there because
there is.
The whole day she's like, "I have my friend Linda over. We're going to make, truffle infused." No, she would never say infused. Yeah. But she'd say, "We're going to make a Waldorf salad." So her and Linda, all day in the kitchen, I'm just watching this whole thing go down. And all of a sudden she's like, "Can't wait till Jeffrey gets home." And they both giggle. And then Jeffrey shows up in like a real crisp, like just ironed, like teal shirt. And all these other people show up and they just start eating the salad. Barefoot Contessa.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that. But Great British Baking Show.
I may have said too much about Barefoot Contessa, but it's a great show. I'm a big fan of Bobby Flay. I'm a big fan of Bobby Flay. But one thing about Bobby Flay I don't like is he always wears polos and his nipples are always poking through.
He's excited about what he does. I think that's part of what he does You just see the joy in his cooking. And I think it's one of the reasons we like these other ones.
He is
Yeah,
nipple erect, 100%. If you go back, I defy you to watch anything with Bobby Flay.
Well, I'm gonna now rewatch the Barefoot Contessa and see maybe why she doesn't wear a polo shirt either.
Please do. And are you ready for our first idiom of the night?
I think we've discussed Bobby Flay's nipples enough, so
Between
I am ready.
Between Ina Garten and Bobby Flay, between a rock and a hard place.
Man, that transition, I bet you didn't see how that would develop as the night started.
It's called serendipity, my friend.
It is. It worked out.
Okay, so the top three now. Number 3 is one that could have been number 1, just kind of how I happen to feel in the moment. But this is one of the first times I think I kind of lost it during the recording. And there is probably another 2 or 3 minutes left on the cutting room floor of me dying laughing. So again, how did this work out? I don't know. But we're talking about, this is 3 Sheets to the Wind talk here, which is one of my favorite episodes. 3 Sheets to the Wind and Cut of Your Jib. And we're talking about yacht rock. And Steve asked about yacht rock. Well, little did I know, and I said Michael McDonald, little did I know that within 2 or 3 minutes I would be hearing the Michael McDonald live in my closet. It was still one of my favorite moments of the show. So number 3 is Michael McDonald.
But earlier we discussed yachts and yacht rock.
Yacht rock.
So
yes.
If I say yacht rock, which I could not say quickly many times in a row, can you think of, does something shoot out at you?
I mean, for some reason, the first guy that comes to mind is like Michael McDonald, Doobie Brother, but of Doobie Brothers fame. Who's another guy? I'm kind of blanking out. I don't know.
I was going to say Christopher Cross.
Dang it. Yes.
Because Ride Like the Wind, plus Michael McDonald is in on his big song.
That's good. And I should have thought Christopher Cross and what messed me up was I was thinking of, who's the guy that did Highway? Kenny Loggins. Yeah. Because apparently they are touring together. Kenny Loggins, Christopher Cross, and Michael McDonald are currently touring together.
A harbor only
yeah,
tour?
It should be. But anyway, I would go see that show as a novelty.
One of the things I like about Christopher Cross is, like, do you ever have songs that you know that maybe you're moving up the sheet scale? And if you hear a certain song, and if I'm somewhere and I hear Ride Like the Wind and I get a little too avuncular, I'm like a little too fired up by that, I know it's time for a glass of water to be had and for a Uber app to be explored.
Exactly. I think I've told you this before because, and I do want to start using the sheet scale because once you know what something means, you're more confident in using it, right? Yeah. And I think I've told you before that if I'm out back grilling, if I ever invite you over and you come over and you hear like classic rock, that's a solid 1.5 to 2. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, but if you hear the Rolling Stones, I'm 3 Sheets. I don't know what it is.
Interesting.
I start getting pumped up. I want to hear the Rolling Stones. I don't ever listen to them. I mean, actually that's not true. I like Some Girls and Sticky Finger, but I'll listen to Backyard Grilling with like Tattoo You or one of those. Yeah, it's like, and I'm like, this is underappreciated.
So that's when you know that things are really out of hand. It's 3 sheet scale if that pops up.
Yep, you got it.
Did you know I can sing like Michael McDonald? Wait a minute, not necessarily sing. I can make noises that sound like Michael McDonald singing. Do you know that?
Okay, I got it. That's enough. I can't do it. What is Michael McDonald doing right now? Like, is that him or we're just around the house with a feather duster? So number 2 is not just one clip. Number 2 is actually, I couldn't choose, but this is, if you listen to the podcast, you know Steve and animals have a very contentious relationship. So I thought I'd put together a couple minutes worth of what I like to call Steve hating animals. So, look, Steve's a good guy. I love Steve. But there are a lot of animals he does not care for. And you're going to hear about some of those animals right now. Number 2, Steve hates animals.
I feel like you and I spent a lot of time discussing animals I don't like.
Yes.
So
bears.
I'm going to continue that thread. I want to talk to you today about raccoons, nature's assholes. Raccoons are awful.
Nature's assholes.
You would think that somebody that looked like, who the Hamburglar and was an animal would be kind of cool. Bears are nature's terror. And if you're going to go up against a bear, you need to be loaded. You need to be ready to do everything. You need the proverbial kitchen sink, which may be future episode.
Oh, good call.
There for it. So bears, the worst animals ever. And let me tell you, alligators, of course, are alligators. And again, I don't even get into that. I see 3 raccoons and just instantly the hackles start going on my neck. Raccoons, again, they look kind of cute. They have the opposable thumbs. And what do they do with it? They eat garbage and have rabies.
Sorry.
The Catholic Church has supports my view of bears.
Exactly.
And this is a big moment for me now. Just to see that they've known for a long time. The Mother Church has been aware of bears and how evil they are. And maybe that's why the Knights Templar were formed.
Okay.
And then I'll say, did a possum get hit by a car in here? Because there's fur.
All right. There's this guy.
I can't breathe.
The Catholic Church. Because
those guys were against bears. They're on the record against bears very early. So I did recently have an encounter with some geese, and I am going to substantially change the facts of the story to hide the identities of the people involved with it.
Before you tell the story, though, you're like the Jack Hanna, or you run into more animals.
I'm like the anti-Jack Hanna, though, because I hate all of them.
Well, why do you run? I can't remember the last time I ran into. Maybe you do outdoor stuff more. You ran into like some raccoons.
Mm-hmm.
You've run into. Well, you were warned about alligators. You've seen some feral cats. What are the other animals? Well, you just don't like bears, but
yeah, they'll kill you. I do like dolphins, but they're rapists.
Okay, so number 1 is my favorite moment of the podcast so far, the first 21 episodes. And I don't know, I loved the Roadhouse episode, and I loved a couple of the other episodes that I could say might be up there as my favorite, but the Halloween episode, I think, is my favorite episode. And the thing that is the best thing about the Halloween episode is the ghost which haunts it. Again, I didn't see this one coming, but the Southern Ghost is number 1. Please enjoy, and thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with a regular episode on Tuesday, as usual. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Wait, can I add one?
Yeah. What do you want?
Have you ever heard my ghost sound?
You have.
I have a ghost sound.
I've known you for 25 years. I probably have heard it, but let me hear it.
The issue with my ghost sound is it quickly evolves from a ghost into kind of like that high effeminate, like South Georgia male accent that you hear every now and then.
Yeah, like the.
Boo. Boo. Boo.
It sounds like Christopher Lowell.
Does anyone need some sweet tea? Boo. Stay away from my magnolias. Boo. Beauregard, no. Boo.
Oh, man.
Hell or high water.
Sorry. First of all, it sounds like this isn't the first time you've done this, is it? When do you do this voice?
When I'm down south and I feel like I need to haunt people.
Oh my gosh! Wow! I'm thunderstruck right now. So let me get it out. We'll get back to it. Look at your magnolias. You may get haunted by the ghost of the guy that got the hot poker in the throat, but
which which sounds like it could be the guy that had that voice for some reason.